I had no idea that me and James were at the same place at the same time. Generic intro into that goes. We're back with another kill count reaction. Today we're doing the 5th and 6th Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the 2003 reboot and the 2006 the beginning. I don't know. That thumbnail for the first one looks rather interesting. I guess we are now halfway through the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. Let's go ahead and jump into the 5th movie. Oh, that's a good sign. If anything has to be blurred, it's either copyright or
welcome to the kill count, where we tally up the victims in
something
all our
that would get the
favorite
video
horror movies.
restricted.
I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake released in 2003. We've covered a lot of remakes on this channel, a couple of which were also produced by Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes, just like this one was. But you may be surprised to learn that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the first major reboot of the horror genre. Sure, there have always been remakes, and some of them came out before this movie, but this was the first reboot of a major horror franchise.
I just got to watch reboot, remakes, and
Zack Snyder's
re-releases.
Dawn of the Dead. After that, it was off to the remake races, and we got a solid decade of non-stop reimaginings of horror classics. Although the tide has been stemmed in recent years, they do in fact continue to this very day. Remakes can be a mixed bag, and I notoriously have a reputation of being pretty hard on them.
Well,
After all,
should be.
originality is something I put a high value on, and I often don't see the point of remaking something that's already been made. But horror fans tend to like this movie, and I can agree that as far as remakes go, it's not bad. It does a nice job balancing nods to the original with fresh new ideas. And R. Lee Ermey's performance as the nasty Sheriff Hoyt feels right at home in the pantheon of sadistic Sawyer family members. Although, on that note, for whatever reason, the Sawyers have been renamed the Hewitts for this timeline. This remake's respect for the original is further reinforced by the fact that Tobe Hooper and Kim Henkel, who wrote the first film, serve as co-producers here. And Daniel Pearl, who shot the
how much say they actually
returns
have?
As cinematographer. Not only did this movie kick off the era of reboots, it also started the trend of having super intense gore and violence in the genre, in contrast to the more teen-targeted films that had come out in the wake of Scream. Remember, this was actually before Saw and Hostel, which came out in 2004 and 2005
I know what Hostel is.
So audiences weren't exactly used to the dirty, bloody scenes this remake wanted to show them. Still, I can't bring myself to love this movie. Even though it looks great and has solid practical effects, it ends up feeling like a parade of brutality, without any of the dark humor or documentary-like grittiness that made the original so interesting. It's fine enough, but ultimately feels to me like an unnecessary remake. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Will Leatherface and his new Hewitt family get more kills than the Sawyers and Slaughters of yesteryear? Let's find out and get to them.
I mean, isn't the whole purpose of like a reboot or remake just kind of like
of a crime scene and
make
some
something age better?
Namely, John Larroquette reprising his role as intro voiceover guy.
For them, an idyllic summer afternoon became a nightmare.
And you know it, you love it.
I've never played Resident Evil until I did the remakes.
Larroquette talks about evidence collected at the Hewitt house and cues up some footage of a police officer doing a crime scene walkthrough. Yeah, take a look at that watch, mofo, because it's time for a title card. It's 1973, apparently, even though Jessica Biel is the most 2003 looking woman I've ever seen. Oh well, at least this dude's being faithful with that disco stew style. Biel plays Erin, a run-of-the-mill final girl who's got a boyfriend named Kemper, who looks like he's on leave from the Nostromo right now. They're on their way to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert with their friends Morgan.
I've actually seen Lynyrd Skynyrd in concert. It was a surprise at Welcome to Rockville last year. I didn't know them.
They've only just met.
Didn't even know.
They walked out and everybody freaked out. I was like, I don't know who that is.
After a bunch of bubble blowing and pinata pecking and recreating shots from the original, they nearly hit a woman who's walking in the middle of the road, muttering to herself that she wants to get away. She wants to fly away. Yeah. Concerned for her safety, they adopt her into their hippie mobile, where she proves to be a real bummer of a van guest.
They're all dead.
After she makes them pull over, saying they're going the wrong way, things follow this franchise's hitchhiker rule of thumb and manage to get real weird real fast. Like, whoa, how'd she have that thing up there the whole time? We just saw her stand up a second ago, and that gun didn't fall out? I don't even think I want to know. I kind of want to know, though. We don't learn anything from the
revolvers are heavy.
Because with one last eerie proclamation,
You're all gonna die.
She adds herself to the
You shouldn't
kill
say that
count
so at
in
all.
a shockingly violent death that ends up having one of the absolute coolest shots
That's
I've ever seen in a horror
probably
movie.
gonna
the friggin'
be
camera dollies
blurred.
out backwards through the hole in her head? Are
That's
you kidding
insane.
me? God
It
damn,
would
that
not
is an
be
awesome shot.
that
And probably
big of
the
a
best part of this
wound.
movie. Even
I don't
cooler
know
is
what
that they
caliber
did the
was,
whole
actually.
effect practically. Actress Lauren German used an air gun in her mouth while they shot a blood gun off behind her head. And the camera
That's
actually went
cool.
through a dummy made by Greg Nicotero that also had to move on a track. They had to try a whole bunch of times to get the take, but director Marcus Nispel insisted they get it, and I'm so glad that he did. Everyone rightfully freaks out about what they just saw and reluctantly drive the body to a gas station slash barbecue joint
Shouldn't they
slash general
call-
store
it was the
where they
70s.
report the suicide to Luda May, the
didn't
proprietor
have a
here,
phone.
who really needs to invest in some fly paper. Ain't no one gonna buy your pig head if it's covered in flies. Luda
Why
May
wouldn't
calls
they?
the town sheriff.
Why wouldn't anybody
who
buy a
says that
pig
he
head,
wants to meet
period?
the kids at a nearby mill. What the hell, Sheriff? These kids ain't Postmates for corpses. Post-living mates? No,
Shouldn't they
corpse
go to the-
mates. The directions to the sheriff's meat mill involve driving over a
Is Postmates
field and
still a
through the
thing?
woods. Wait, is it to Grandmother's mill we go? Grandmother's mill appears to be as dead as Grandma Sawyer.
How do they
which
know to
is
just
say
drive through the
buried.
grass?
While the kids wait for this mystery sheriff to arrive, something runs by them in the background. They go to see what it was, only to find a possum in a locker.
Aw.
And I normally wouldn't mention
Cute.
something so inconsequential, but I love the story I learned about them shooting this. Apparently, they just got a possum and expected
Aw.
it to deliver the scares right away. But every time they tried to get the shot, the damn thing could only be adorable instead of scary.
Yeah.
Aw, what a little cutie. The
It's a
kids
possum.
keep looking, and eventually
North
they
America's
find the
only
dirtiest little
marsupial.
boy I have ever seen outside a coal mine. This kid named Jedediah. Can you walk like a person,
Jedediah?
Jed? No? Oh,
Okay,
that's
Gollum.
okay.
Promise you won't hurt me.
Oh, yeah, we promise, little buddy. As long as you don't attack us with the bone art you've got hanging around. Jedediah tells them that the sheriff is probably at home getting drunk. But since the roads don't go to his house, Aaron and Kemper have to walk through some beautifully lit woods to get there instead. Director Marcus
Why is
Nispel
nobody
has a painting
being
background,
suspicious
and
about
it really
this?
comes through in these shots. The sheriff's house they find is actually totally fucking awesome. From its stark architecture to the menacing way Daniel Pearl shoots it. Honestly, this is one of the coolest looking horror houses we've seen in quite some time.
Very
I mean, it's
interesting
no Elm
design.
Street house, but what could ever be, right? In contrast to their 1974 counterparts, these kids don't break into the house all willy-nilly, and instead the door is answered by a guy named Monty, who's a double leg amputee. Monty
Oh.
says that, nope, sheriff don't live here, dirty boy must have lied, and then allows Aaron, and only Aaron, into his house to call the police station.
Oh,
the police
of
station
course.
tells her that the
Also,
sheriff will be
did
at
he
the
have
old
stairs
mill
going up to
soon.
his front
Keep your
door?
damn pants on. After Aaron's call ends, she hears Monty shouting for help. Looks like he fell over in the middle of drawing himself a mud bath. At least I
Oh.
hope that's mud. Ew. Monty takes advantage of Aaron's kindness, the nasty old man, while Kemper gets sick of waiting
Yeah,
on
there's
the porch.
stairs
Mom,
to
I'm
his
bored
front
now.
porch.
I want to come inside. He walks through a house that
Pigs.
production designer Greg Blair dressed according to Ed Gein crime scene photos. But to me, it still doesn't feel as depraved as the original movie's production design done by Bob Burns. Kemper's tour is ended when Leatherface appears and sprays
Bonk.
his blood across the TV, then drags him away to recreate a classic moment. Although Kemper was still kicking right there, I'm gonna
He's
put him
not
on the
gonna
kill
be,
count now,
for
because
much
the
longer.
next time we see his face will be when Leather is hard at work turning it into a mask.
I
Isn't it
mean,
great
he
when
could
you
be
find a
living-
hobby
you
that
could
you
live
can
without a
really
face.
throw yourself into? Also, it's during this home ec scene later on that we get to clearly see Leather's unmasked adult face for the one and only time in the series. Looks like he
Oh.
wears a mask here because he has a skin condition. Remakes just love explaining stuff that doesn't really need explaining.
I mean,
Also,
the
while we're talking
mystery is
about
kinda good.
Leatherface, in this movie, he's played by 6'5" bodybuilder Andrew Bryniarski, who was super into the role.
I was born to wear the mask. There's nobody that's going to be as scary as me or bring what I could bring to this character.
It kind of sounds like he might have been a little too into it, actually.
Gotta play Leatherface. I was born to wear the mask.
That's
There was
oh.
some weird stuff between him and Gunnar Hansen, too. The
Like
way
what?
Bryniarski describes it, Hansen was cool to him on set for these prequel movies, but started throwing shade around in 2013 when Hansen was working on Texas Chainsaw 3D. And I did actually notice in the special features for that movie that Hansen was kind of talking shit.
Yeah, this is the Andrew Bryniarski slams the door.
Oh. Oh,
This
wow.
is the original slams the door.
Oh, okay. It was
That's
actually
kind of a
such
random
an acrimonious
stray.
relationship that when Gunnar Hansen died in 2015, the only response Andrew Bernarski had at first was a Facebook post saying boo-hoo. Wow.
Oh,
That's all
wow.
really weird to learn. The noise from
What-
Kemper's
I mean,
attack
that's kinda
gets Erin's
crazy
attention,
to
and
just
she leaves Monty to
be
go
like.
look for her boyfriend, eventually leaving the house after she's unknowingly spied upon by Leatherface and his favorite sound effect. Back at the mill, the sheriff has finally
Oh,
arrived.
wow.
And let me tell you something, son. Sheriff Hoyt is one mean
Also, is
motherfucker.
this- is
As
it
if
the actual
Arlie
sheriff
Ernie's
and not a
deep
sheriff
crevice frown
deputy?
And messy spitting didn't tip you off there. He's a suspiciously scary dude, both in the way he talks to the kids
Excuse me, you mind getting the fuck out of my way, son?
and the way he be looking at that body.
Wow. Look at that mess.
His solution is simple: saran wrap, and he orders Andy to help him with the same kind
The
of
sheriff
discipline
uses
you'd
saran
expect
wrap.
from a drunk dad in the 50s.
She ain't gonna bite you. She's deader than a goddamn doornail. Get a hold of her and pick her up.
After being real gross
Why?
and sexual with the
That's a
body,
lot of saran
with
wrap.
dialogue that
much
Arlie
saran
Ernie
wrap
was
do you
able
need
to
to cover a
ad-lib
person?
because of course.
I'm no stranger to bad guys. I play bad guys pretty often. It's a lot of fun to play the bad guy.
Hoyt has Andy and Morgan carry the corpse to his police car and dump it in his trunk. You know, standard operating police procedure.
Yep.
Protect and serve. That's what we do.
Yep, that's
Really?
a good police.
Serve
After
what?
he leaves, Erin finishes her second unexpected journey through the woods and gets back to the mill. She was hoping to find Kemper there, but since he isn't, the kids set out to look for him.
Oh,
All
no.
they find instead are a bunch of
Could've just
abandoned
left him
cars,
behind.
some human teeth like this the Blair Witch or some shit, and a picture of the hitchhiker who killed herself, sealed inside a jar full of, well, let's just call it lemonade and think no more about it.
Oh.
Because these people are
Wait,
hot
what?
teens in a horror movie, they decide to split up again, with Morgan and Pepper returning to the van
Oh
while
my
Eric
God.
and Andy go to look for Kemper some more. They get back to that exceedingly well-shot house and decide that Erin will distract Monty so Andy can sneak inside. That gives us a half-assed
And,
re-rendering, well, in one regard at least, of the famous low-angle shot from the original. While
Walk up to
Andy
the house.
has way too much
But
fun
that's higher
venturing
iron.
into the house. You know he's humming his own theme music like Kronk while he's doing this. He comes across the kitchen slash meat hanging slash chicken room where they keep their best human skin pantyhose. And he's majorly
no.
bummed when he finds out they don't have any good snacks in the fridge. God, no
Who
Sonny
looks in
Peanut
somebody else's
Butter?
fridge when you're
Andy
trying to save your
causes
friend?
a loud-ass kitchen crash, and Erin runs inside to make
Where's
sure he's
Monty?
okay. He is, for now, but Monty says that's not going to be true for long.
Turd. You're so dead you don't even know it.
Sure enough, behind door number 1 is Leatherface.
Okay. At least he
And
waited.
just like that, we're back in this shit. Erin gets away
What's
and
Monty
leaves
gonna do?
Andy to run the first chainsaw chase, which includes a solid action bit involving a lug wrench and a beautiful detour through that old horror movie classic,
Who has that
Sheets
many
on a
sheets?
Clothesline. Eventually, Leatherface cuts the race and
there's
Andy
gonna be
short
blood
by
all over the
chainsawing
sheets.
through his shin. Inside the Hewitt house, after it gets dark, Leatherface peels the injured Andy off the ground.
Now he's
and
like
makes
Monty.
a sacrifice to
Oh.
the entity by sticking that boy on a meat hook.
Yep.
And
God.
sure, we've all seen that before.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what we haven't seen. Leatherface salting a stump and wrapping it up like a porterhouse for supper.
Why?
Number 49, your order is up. Erin gets back to the van, which very inconveniently won't start for them, when Sheriff Hoyt suddenly reappears. She mistakenly gets her hopes up, thinking he can help her, but Hoyt ain't about to help a van full of
was looking at
heathenist
that watch.
stoners.
You kids taking drugs?
He gets them out of the vehicle and makes them lie on the ground, then scares the piss out of them by shooting near their heads. Well, he's either fucking with them
No
or
ear
he's got
protection
shit
either.
for aim. Either way, Pepper's lost all hope. We're gonna die, we're gonna die. Hoyt takes Morgan inside the van and torments him by making him reenact a hitchhiker's suicide, getting
What do you
a little
mean?
sexual with it while he does.
Show me how she did it.
Do it! It's an intense scene, and actor Jonathan Tucker actually made himself throw up for multiple takes
Why?
of him shoving the gun further into his mouth. When Hoyt
Oh.
gets momentarily distracted, Morgan manages to turn the gun around on him.
And
it
it's
looks
empty.
like the sheriff saw that coming.
Count 6 shots.
Oh, you saw in big doo-doo
I count
this
2
time,
guns.
Morgan. Hoyt takes the van's keys and hauls Morgan off for attempted cop killing. Maybe write yourself a DUI while you're at it, Hoyt. Although I guess you needed that bottle, because what else are you gonna smash against Morgan's face?
Oh, that was Really rude, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was, dude. And not in the fun, demented way, like Drayton with his poking stick. You're just fucking scary, man. They get to the Hewitt
Has no
house,
teeth.
still lit like it's a Coachella tent, and Hoyt
Oh, there
engages
is,
in some
like, a
standard
driveway.
police brutality as he manhandles Morgan into the
Standard?
house. Back at the mill, Erin is trying to hotwire the van with skills she learned in juvie when Leatherface attacks them with
Didn't know they
skills
had
he
that
learned
class
in
in
Chainsaw
juvie.
Junior High. He graduated top of his class. Pepper makes a
hope so.
run
He's
for
definitely
it and does her
homeschooled.
best Donkey Kong to slow him down. But the barrels don't stop this barrel-chested lad, who catches up to her and cuts her to the ground. He kills her by cutting her in half just off screen, which is a pretty bland kill for Pepper.
That's gonna
Could've
be
definitely
the dull
used more
machete.
seasoning. The feathers from Pepper's jacket fill the air as Leatherface looks back towards Erin
Like Kemper's
while wearing
face.
Kemper's
Yep.
face. Very eerie shot.
That's the
partly
thumbnail.
because of the face, partly because of the feathers. Now it's Erin's turn to make a run for it and begin another chainsaw chase through the woods. Vroom, vroom, vroom. We've all seen this before.
I feel like this is gonna be a
Erin
short
ends her
movie. You're
trailer
kinda
home,
flying
where
through
she's
this.
led inside by a sickly-looking woman named Henrietta and her presumed mother, known only as the Tea Lady. Why is she the Tea Lady? Because this is a tea trailer, motherfuckers.
Nothing a good old cup of tea won't settle.
Yeah, except like cannibalism. But from what
fine.
these ladies are saying, they're not worried about any chainsaw attacks. In fact, when they talk about Leatherface, they sound like friggin' Chelsea.
Poor sweet boy.
Chelsea.
Henrietta forces
Why does
Erin
Chelsea-
to drink some of her
Wait,
famous
what-
tea
Chelsea
and then
feels
goes
bad
to tend
for
to
the-
a crying baby.
for Leatherface?
She's a colicky one, huh? Erin realizes why that baby's such a poopy pants when she sees a picture of her with a different family.
That's not your baby.
Nope.
You stole her!
How very clever of Erin. If only she hadn't let them pour tea down her gullet, then maybe she'd be able to get out of there. But she did, so she isn't. Live and let learn,
Well
I
then.
suppose. She's woken up by Sheriff Hoyt pouring beer on her face.
Oh, that's
and we see
disgusting.
the main members of the Hewitt family all together at last. There's Hoyt, his mama Luda May, that woman from the general store, her brother Monty, the guy who was feeling up that Beal booty in the bathroom, and Luda May's grandson Jedediah, the amazing dirt wonder. And of course, there's Leatherface.
Who is
whose
Leatherface
real name in
the
this
kid of?
timeline is Thomas Brown Hewitt. Luda May yells at Erin, while young little
guessing
Jed
it's the
begs
sheriff's
his grandma
brother,
not
younger
to
brother?
hurt the nice lady from Seventh Heaven. Leatherface throws Erin into the basement, which has now flooded for no other reason I can think of than to have Jessica Biel be all wet. Wonder if that was a suggestion by producer Michael Bay after he had her wash his car or some shit. Erin finds Andy
What?
pretty much crucified on a meat hook, and in fact, for this scene, actor Mike Vogel had to endure 5 hours hanging up on a painful harness system. Ouch.
What?
Maybe you could
I
help him
mean,
off that thing,
a
Erin?
harness
Yeah, just
is
like-
probably
oh,
more
oh God,
comfortable
never mind.
than
Now it's
a
worse.
meat hook.
Yeah, you should be. Andy begs Erin to put him out of his misery, and when she finally agrees to do it, she goes about it in the dumbest way possible.
Make as much
she just
noise as
stabs
possible.
him in the gut. Come the
Why?
fuck on. Who would ever be that dumb? At least aim for the heart. You can still take a shower in his blood all the same, Erin, only he won't be dying.
Why
a
would you
torturously
disembowel
slow death.
him?
Ugh. Erin then finds Morgan having a spot of tubby time and looks like he's still alive too. She helps him out as Jedediah appears and tells them to follow him to safety. But
I
right as they
don't
start
trust
to,
the kid.
Oh, it's fucking Leatherface! Whirring his chainsaw blade and chasing them through this narrow underground corridor. Erin and Morgan manage
Weird
to
that this is
escape
underground.
Leatherface and the subterranean meat cellar with a little assistance from Jedediah. Good dirty boy.
Oh, Jedediah
They
is a
flee
good
the
guy.
Hewitt house
Kid.
and limp their way into a nearby
Dirt boy.
building. But when they're unable to find any exits, I guess nobody's repaired any generators, Erin has to stuff Morgan into a cubby and then hide on her own, since Leatherface has followed them inside and is eager to make his family proud.
He's very good
he
at
hole
tracking.
punches the wall to get at
Oh.
her and is all ready to cut her in half with his chainsaw when Morgan stops him with a body slam. They wrestle around for a while, and Erin
gonna
tries
die.
to
Dude,
help,
he's
but
6'5",
Leatherface wins
okay?
the handicap.
Yeah, you're not winning that
Pins
fight.
Morgan up on a spiky chandelier. Way
How
to
is that
improvise a
suspending
meat
his
hook, Tommy boy.
weight?
Leatherface kills Morgan by taking his saw up between his legs while Erin scrambles away.
That's
Erin's
very
back
painful.
on the track, and although
That's
this
worse
is like
than
the
the
bazillionth chainsaw
slow,
chase
painful
we've
death.
seen, at least Daniel Pearl gives us some pretty handsome shots to look at while we watch the same old action, which includes Leatherface falling and cutting himself, just like he did on the road at the end of the first movie.
Oh.
Erin makes it to
What?
an actual
I'm not sure how the
meat packing
chainsaw's even
plant,
running.
which is great because we always hear so damn
Why is it
much
running?
about slaughterhouses in these movies that it's about time we see one in person, especially if it's replacing the overdone dinner scene. My only complaint is that apparently the Hewitts didn't own this meatpacking plant, because if they did, they could have been the Hewitt Packers. Leatherface follows Erin into the plant, chasing her through
HP.
full of Hellraiser hooks and freezers full of dead meat, and she thought they smelled bad on the outside. Also,
literally
since production
hiding
couldn't
in a
afford
car.
that many slabs of fake meat, those are actual cow carcasses they're using here. Probably not the best experience for Jessica Biel, who's a longtime vegan. And to make matters worse,
wait,
for her,
really?
she's unable to get through this chase scene without getting needlessly wet again. Damn, girl, you must be freezing in there. Erin arms herself with a cleaver and hides in a locker as Leatherface walks
I don't think a
around
cleaver
looking like
beats a
badass.
chainsaw.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool fucking Leatherface shot. Her locker camping strategy works, and she's able to jump out with the cleaver and hack into Leatherface's arm. She hacks the thing right off, in fact, and
That's
leaves
actually
Leatherface
impressive.
behind with
Probably
only
get the
one
other
arm.
one, too.
Oh, and the one he lost was his chainsawing arm too? That's gonna affect his livelihood, Aaron. Aaron escapes
Yeah, it's gonna be
into
hard
the
to
wet,
fix that.
wet night and flags down a semi-truck for
Now it's, of
help.
course,
And in a rare
training.
moment of relief for the paranoid watchers among us, the driver doesn't end up being a Sawyer or Hewitt. But he does get weirded out by Aaron, who mutters like that hitchhiker did, and similarly screams when she sees that they're headed back to the barbecue store. When the driver pulls off and parks at the store, Aaron gets out and runs around back, where she sees through the window the Hewitts all together, fawning over that stolen baby of Henrietta's. The truck driver inadvertently distracts them.
He's gonna die.
He asks for help with the whole Aaron situation, and while he talks to the Hewitts, Aaron snatches the baby up. Sorry, Henrietta,
she
but
did
you
that to
know what
save
they
the
say
child.
about babies. Easy come, easy go. As Aaron hotwires another vehicle, Sheriff Hoyt approaches
of those
the
skills that
semi-truck, and some
she's
sneaky
shown already.
Hobbits' editing leaves you thinking that he's about to open that door to find Aaron. But she's not in
Why
the
would she
truck.
need to hotwire
Instead,
the
she
truck?
hotwired his sheriff's car and runs him over like a motherfucker with it. Right? And she's all about that double tap too. Wait, scratch that. She's going for the triple
Yeah,
tap.
no.
Damn.
Maybe
1, 2,
another one.
3. He is out. Aaron drives away with that stranger baby, hopefully to help it and not
Hopefully
sell it
not
on the dark web or
traumatized.
anything. And although Leatherface gives her a parting glance with his chainsaw, it's really only so he
And
can
he does the dance.
half-assedly recreate the famous final shot
With
from the
one arm.
original. The movie ends with the return to that framing device of the police footage, even though it feels entirely unnecessary at this point. Or rather it would, except it gives us 2 more kills after Leatherface pops out.
Wait,
and kills
what?
the cop on camera as well as the cam-op cop.
So how did
crime
we get
scene
the
was not
footage?
properly secured by Travis County Police. 2 investigating officers were fatally wounded that day.
See, the proof is in the
Fatally
lyric.
wounded or
2
killed?
more kills for the count. Thanks, John.
Fatally-
And, you know, Leatherface.
I guess
How many
that
kills
would be-
did the Hewitts do it to it?
Would it not
Let's
be-
find out at the numbers.
Now you gotta do the dance. He stood very still
8
for
people
that.
died in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, beating out the original thanks to those last 2 kills. The victims consisted of 2 women, 5 men, and 1 unknown cam-op, though statistically, he'd probably be a dude. With a runtime of
Statistically, but
98
statistics
minutes,
are
he had a
not
kill on average
100%
of
accurate.
12.25 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to the hitchhiker for sure. It's a pretty promising start to the movie. What with
I don't
the
even know
shock
what
of it
the
all,
caliber
and
of that
course,
is, but
kick-ass shot.
it
The
had
only
to be a
thing I
Magnum
don't
to do that
love
kind of
is the way
damage.
she was holstering that gun. Seems kind of silly to me. Doll machete for lamest kill will go to Andy, because I still can't believe
Really?
Erin decided to mercy kill her friend.
I mean,
with
yeah.
a slow-ass motherfucking gut stab. Come on. And that's it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot came out in 2003.
Hopefully it
and
didn't
earned
have copyright
enough money
issues.
that a prequel was made to give us more of the Hewitt family. I'll look at that next week, but until then, I'm James.
I still
A.
like how
Reeves.
we've broken
This has
all
been
the
Kill
Texas
Count.
Chainsaw
Thanks a lot for
Massacres
watching the
into
Kill
what
Count for the
decade they
Texas
came
Chainsaw
out
Massacre
ish.
remake. I want to thank
No,
a
the
bunch
first
of patrons this week, like
1
Jessica
and 2.
Diora, Aaron Cornelia, Alan Crazy Horse,
Shout out to
Zane
my patrons.
Johnson,
Couldn't
Anthony
do this without
Dorn
them.
Green,
Also,
and Papa Steve. By the time you're watching
very
this, I'll be in
soon-
Las Vegas celebrating my birthday. I'm
Oh, nice.
30. I'm old. How'd you feel about
I'm
the
old.
TCM remake? Let me know
I'm
in the
old.
comments. Thanks, everybody. Be good people.
Another one? Okay, if this has to be blurred, then, then something else happened. But good
Welcome
news,
to the Kill Count, where we tally
I'm
up the
actually
victims
going
in
to
all
have
our
my
favorite
first
horror
40-hour
movies.
work
I'm
week.
James A. Janice, and today
since,
we're looking at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, released
end
in
of July, I
2006
think?
as a prequel to the 2003 reboot. The Beginning mostly
working
takes
50
place
to
in
70 hours a week.
1969,
Nice.
4 years before Jessica Biel
Working
and her friends
50 to
stumbled into the Hewitt family
50 to
hellscape. In this
70
movie, we follow
hours?
another group of hot young people who
A week
find
for
themselves
the last 16
victimized
weeks
by the
straight.
Hewitts. Aside from an
But,
incidental plot point about
that's gonna
draft
change.
dodging the
It's gonna
Vietnam
cost me money, money to do
there's
it,
hardly
but
anything memorable about the
I'm gonna
beginning.
be able to get back
Most
to
of it plays out exactly as you'd expect, and since
not
it's
missing
a prequel,
uploads,
you already
live
know that all the
streaming,
Hewitt family members
anime
are going
reactions.
to survive. Although there is a cool bit of backstory involving Sheriff Hoyt's origins. There's a lot more gore than the remake, since Saw and Hostel had come out by this point, and the filmmakers felt the need to keep upping the ante. But this prequel still ends up being probably the most forgettable entry of the franchise alongside Part 3. Doesn't mean we won't get cool kills in it though, so let's find out how many we're working with here and get to them. The movie begins at a slaughterhouse in 1939. Back in my day, we didn't need no Leatherface to slam all metal doors.
1939, that's pre-World
An unnamed
War
woman working
II.
inside starts complaining to her boss about some stomach pains before her water breaks, which quickly turns into a blood flood. And it's steaming blood? What the fuck? Anyway, this is enough to kill the poor woman, making her our first addition to the kill count.
Wait,
the baby she died
what?
giving birth to has some kind of skin condition that creeps out her boss so much he ends up tossing it into a dumpster. The baby is found later by a young Luda Mae Hewitt, who's more than willing to rescue it and take it home to the Hewitt house
That
so
same
R.
house.
Lee Ermey can get a jump start on berating it.
That's the ugliest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, almost as ugly as this title card. The opening
That's very
credits
Saw
sequence
looking.
involves backstory about Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface, and the town he lives in that we probably could have figured out on our own. But hey, how else could we have gotten that flashbulb sound effect so early? After all that, we're in 1969,
Nice.
and the slaughterhouse is being condemned and closed thanks to that pesky health department. Always trying to keep rat feces out of our food. I thought this was America. With the plant closing down, young Tommy Hewitt is now out of a job, so he's forced to hand in his apron and cleaver. That gives Thomas some economic anxiety, and he takes it out by whacking the slaughterhouse owner with a mallet, knocking him to the ground. He kills the dude with a bash to the head and an evil glare into the camera. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the moment that Thomas Hewitt became Leatherface. I mean, he is already wearing leather on his face.
Yeah,
oh, and look,
just
a chainsaw.
partially.
Perfect. While Leatherface
not
is
a
busy establishing
Gucci
his
chainsaw,
origin
though.
story, a cop named Sheriff Winston visits the Hewitt house. There, he tells a silhouetted Hewitt man that they found the body of the slaughterhouse owner, so now they're gonna have to go arrest old Leatherface Tom. Sheriff Winston is played by Lou Temple,
Also
he of The
Shotgun
Walking Dead, and that
on the-
real rough scene in the director's cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween. In his brief screen time, he manages to bring
Shotgun
a
on
real
the
hellbilly
dashboard.
quality
Is that
to
a
this
dashboard?
movie.
Yeah.
You could bring a horse to organism using your finger. You believe that shit?
Winston mentions that this town has dried up so much, he's the last damn police in the whole damn place. That
What?
means he's the only one here to deal with Thomas, who he tries to apprehend when he finds him walking down the
I don't know
middle
why
of the
he'd be
road.
closing
But Sheriff
the
Winston
distance.
didn't count on Hewitt family loyalty, and he shot in the back of the head with his own police shotgun
Yeah, I don't know
by,
why
wait
he would
for
think
it,
that.
R. Lee Ermey, which you probably had already guessed.
Shit, I just killed the whole fucking sheriff's department.
Turns out Sheriff Winston's last name was Hoyt, and with him dead, we see the origin of the Sheriff Hoyt we're familiar with, who, turns out, isn't actually a sheriff at all, and whose name isn't actually Hoyt. His real name is Charlie Hewitt. Charlie Two Hats, they call him. And like I said in the intro, I do like this reveal. It's kind of funny
that's kinda
and
cool.
explains his very unpolice-like behavior in the
And also
reboot.
explains
Not that it really
how
needed
he's
explaining,
a sheriff.
of course. Also unnecessary, this supervillain speech Hoyt gives at the dinner table that night to his mama Luda Mae and his uncle Monty. He tells them that with everyone else having left the town, they're now going to rule over it and start eating people.
the
Starting
entire
with
town
Charlie's
was
new
literally
namesake,
just
real
the
Sheriff
slaughterhouse?
Hoyt. Ooh, Leatherface lie. By the way, speaking of Leatherface, he's once again played by Andrew Bernarski, who carried the chainsaw in the reboot. And although he's not wearing people face masks just yet, he does have that mankind muzzle to cover up the pockmarked face makeup that Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger skillfully applied. With the Hewitt family origin story out of the way,
I
now
do
we
like
can
the-
meet
dude,
their
that
soon-to-be
kinda looks like a
Our
day
final
date.
girl is Chrissy, played by Jordana Brewster and her eyebrows, who, sure, has been in a movie that's grossed $1 billion, but for
What movie
me,
is
she'll
that?
always be that chick from The Faculty. Her boyfriend
that?
Eric, played by the phenomenally attractive Matt Bomer, is returning to Vietnam for a voluntary second tour, but this time
That's
he's going
crazy.
with his recently drafted little brother, Dean. Only problem is, Deanie Weenie and his girlfriend Bailey are planning to dodge that draft and hide out in Mexico. On their way to a base station, they briefly stop at the Hewitt family's best little general store in Texas,
Oh, no.
ostensibly so the ladies can pee, but really so they can run into this biker couple, Alex and Holden, for plot
they just
purposes.
chilling
Yay,
there?
plot stuff. After they're back on the road, Dean inexplicably decides that this is the best time to burn his draft card, right there in the back of his brother's Jeep. Obviously, Eric
I actually didn't know.
notices,
Did we
and they
actually
get
get
into an
draft
actually
cards?
interesting argument about things like PTSD and the morality of war. But it's cut short when they're flagged down by that biker chick Alex wielding a sawed-off shotgun. The distraction causes them
I don't
to
think
T-bone
that was
a cow in the middle of the
okay.
road, wrecking both the beef and the Jeep. And
Actually,
after
what
a
would
very
happen?
violent tumble, Chrissy is missing from the vehicle
If you
entirely,
T-bone a
while the
cow
others are,
in a
well,
vehicle
not
like
in the
that-
best of shapes right now. Not the best time to experience highway robbery,
Would that
but that's
necess-
exactly what that biker chick Alex attempts before her efforts are
I don't think the
thwarted
call
by a
would go that
police
much
car
further.
arriving on the scene. And looks like you're out of luck, Alex, because this phony Sheriff Hoyt likes to shoot first and read Miranda rights later. Actually, he probably doesn't read them at any point.
No, I don't think he knows the
read
Miranda
anything
rights.
at all, come to think of it. While Chrissy wakes
Might not
up
even know how to
far
read.
from the crash, pulling a real Jack Shepherd there, Hoyt gets the others out of the Jeep with some very unlawful behavior, including putting his gun in their faces and sexually assaulting them. Yeah, Chrissy, this is one occasion where the grass is much greener exactly where you're at.
Yeah,
Hoyt
it
finds
is.
the half-burnt draft card and asks the boys which one of them is the dirty draft dodger. Before Dean can admit to it, though,
What?
his brother Eric claims to be the culprit,
Is
earning
it
him
like
scorn and beratement
when people
from the dude
get
who was
margin
just eating
called
people last night. Hoyt sticks the living in the back seat
on,
and the dead
like,
shotgun
brokerage
girl
apps, and they're just like,
shotgun,
ah,
and then takes off.
I'm just gonna delete the
unknowingly
app.
leaving
The
Chrissy
debt's
behind
gone.
at the crash site. While she's rummaging around for the gun,
people
that
actually
she knows
burn their
Eric
draft
had in
cards?
the Jeep,
Oh,
a tow truck
1911.
pulls up. And although it's not Matthew McConaughey driving this thing, it is still one of Leatherface's relatives, Uncle Monty Hewitt,
Yep.
that guy from the remake.
And
who
this is
has
gonna
become
show
a
how he
double
lost his
amputee
legs.
by that point. Looks like we've got
Lieutenant
another
Dan.
origin story on our hands. Or feet. Monty finds Eric's gun before Chrissy's able to grab it, and then he hooks up the Jeep and drives off with it without ever noticing Chrissy in the back seat. Sweet, free Uber. Hoyt gets back to the Hewitt house and immediately hangs up the brothers out back so he can hose them down like the mischievous prick that he is. Then Monty gets back, towing the Jeep, so Chrissy is able to sneak around and
do
see
with
the
the
boys
Jeep?
in their perilous position. Pretty rough situation here, but at least all the kids are together. Oh, nope, Chrissy's off on her own again.
okay.
Eventually, she flags down that other biker dude.
Why were they
Hoyt, as
separated?
he's conveniently driving down the road. When she tells him a psycho sheriff took his gal pal Alex, he arms up and follows Chrissy back towards
course
the
he's
Hewitt
armed.
house. Hoyt surprises Eric with a roll of saran wrap, his favorite
fine.
go-to tool apparently. With his brother nearly suffocating to death, Dean finally admits that he's Dean the draft dodger, and that gets Hoyt
How would you
to cut
prove
open
that?
an air hole for Eric, although not in the friendliest of ways.
Oh.
Hoyt throws Dean to the ground and starts yelling at the
Dude,
youngster
Hoyt
about his
has
own
a
time
very
as
nice watch.
POW in Korea. Do I smell another unnecessary explanation here? This time exploring Hoyt's cannibalistic roots?
You got captured, you had two choices. Starve to death or survive.
Yep, that's exactly what I smell. Hoyt makes a deal with Dean. If he can do 20 push-ups, he'll let the draft dodger walk free.
okay.
But you know what they say about things that sound too good to be true. They fucking are, dumbass. And Hoyt failed to mention that the push-ups would be done while Dean is being beaten with a baton. Hey, at least he didn't make him plyo push-ups, right, Dean? Always look on the bright side. Oh, and watch that form, mister.
Only half of one, that don't count.
See, form's important. After
I mean-
a brutal scene that actually took them 6 or 7 days to film,
Why?
Dean finally finishes his set. But Hoyt deals out some bonus beatings and a spine stomp, so although Dean is technically free to go now, he probably won't be moving for a while there.
Yeah, he's
Meanwhile,
probably in a lot
inside
of
the
pain.
house, Bailey's not having the best of times either, since she's currently being hand-washed by Luda May
Is
so
she also
can be
stabbed?
presentable during tea time. That's right, it's tea time. Because here
Tea time,
comes
tea
the
time,
tea
tea time,
lady
tea.
with her little tea kettle, and she's ready to have some tea, motherfuckers. But sorry, Bailey, no tea on the floor. Them's the
Why
tea
not?
rules. Eric
What?
manages to break himself free from his pulley system captivity, and after tending
Ooh.
to his brother, he launches into an attack
Because
on
I
the
guess
Hewitt,
military
starting
training,
with a brick through
you know?
the window, and then a full-on storming of the
Gun?
castle. He frees Bailey, and together they use the tea lady as a barrier to keep Hoyt out of the kitchen. But aside from that minor victory, everything else about their escape is a total failure. Bailey starts driving away in the tow truck, but since she didn't bother closing the door, Leatherface just hooks her right on out of the vehicle.
That's fine.
Hoyt catches up to the brothers and knocks out Eric with his shotgun, and Dean's escape route takes him right through a bear trap that stops him for good. Somehow,
they even
Chrissy
have
and that
bears?
biker
They
dude
said El
Holden
Paso.
don't
Are
make
there
it back to
bears
the
there?
Hewitt house until after nightfall. While Holden heads inside to save his biker girlfriend, Chrissy finds Dean still stuck in that bear trap. Sucks to be him, but at least he's not Eric, who's currently being meal prepped by Leatherface, or Bailey, who is possibly raped by Sheriff Hoyt. That's what the exterior shot in Scream suggests anyway. Man, this sucks. There's nothing new or interesting about these these torture scenes when we're seeing them for the 6th damn time. Yo, and quit trying to recreate that Pam shot from the original. It gets worse every time.
Yeah, that's
sneaks into the
noticeably
Hewitt
worse. It's not even light outside.
stealthily crawls around, while Holden decides to just walk straight the fuck in and shoot Monty in the leg. He gets the jump on Hoyt as well, and demands that he be taken to where the girl is. But the girl Hoyt leads him to is Bailey, and Holden's only interested in rescuing his girl.
You don't want to see the other girl.
When Holden goes to shoot Hoyt, Leatherface stops him by hitting his arm with a powered-down chainsaw. But it doesn't stay powered down for long, because after Leatherface throws Holden on top of it, and Hoyt holds him down, the saw gets revved up again, and Holden is killed in a loud, blood-spraying affair that doesn't end until the chainsaw is brought up through his body.
Beautiful bastard, you!
With Leatherface preoccupied upstairs, Chrissy is able to find Eric, who's been bolted
having
to
a bad
slab
time.
and is pretty out of it thanks to the old Leatherface treatment. She's unable to free him before Leatherface comes back downstairs, so she has to hide under the table and try to stay
under
quiet
the table.
as
Hopefully, it
Leatherface
doesn't
revs
take
up
the
his
chainsaw into the
kills
table.
her boyfriend right above her by cutting
There's
into
some blood
Eric's
drip
torso,
down.
just barely missing Chrissy in the process. Almost had a twofer there, Thomas. This was one of my favorite kills to see the behind-the-scenes for, since Nicotero and Berger made a full-size dummy of Eric with a cable-operated head and neck. That let them move it around while the saw went through a chest filled with fake entrails and blood. Awesome. The behind-the-scenes also showed the amazing replica Matt Bomer face they made with the terrifying skinned head underneath it. A necessary prop for when Leatherface acquires his very first face mask in this time.
That's why they need
I love that it's Matt Bomer's face too. Enjoy starting at the top, Thomas. You'll never find another face to wear that's as handsome as this one. And I'm not the only one impressed by how good-looking Matt Bomer is. Take it from the late Marietta Merrick, who played Luda Mae Hewitt.
What a gorgeous guy he is. He has the most fantastic eyes. Oh, he's so beautiful.
Then again, don't count yourself out, Marietta. You were damn good looking yourself at that age.
I did, believe it or not, glamour roles. Singing and dancing and television and radio. I'd done just about everything.
Still, even mean old Sheriff Hoyt thinks that Bomer face is bomb.
I like your new face.
On her way out of this traumatizing basement, Chrissy slips and falls so she can join the gratuitous wet shirt club. She's just about out the front door when she's stopped by the screams of Bailey coming from upstairs. Oh man, now I gotta save my
now she's like, oh
this
god.
just keeps getting worse. As Chrissy
Or
and
is
her
she
hint
happy
of
that she's still alive?
heads
Or we're
upstairs, the Hewitts
mad
tend
that
to
she's still
Monty
alive.
and the bullet in his leg.
That's right, should just do something.
Oh, Monty, you should not
What
have
about his other
trusted
leg?
this asshole. Because Hoyt's solution is to have Thomas the Chainsaw Engine come in and amputate the leg off entirely. Oh,
And they'd be like,
no,
oops,
and it
wrong
looks like
leg,
he
the
nicked
other one was shot.
leg too?
Look at that. Now, Tommy, that's goddamn sloppy. That'll get infected. Even them up.
And that, dear viewer,
That'll
is
be-
how Monty lost his legs. Chrissy finds Bailey and starts to untie her, but she's
that a
immediately discovered
malpractice
by Hoyt,
insurance?
so I guess
Like,
that means
is
we're
that gonna be a
about due
lawsuit
for
there?
another dinner scene. And look at that, the gang's all here. Well, not all here exactly. Some of them are missing a few parts. Chrissy tries to talk shit and calls the Hewitts a bunch of inbred degenerates, but that only results in Leatherface coming out and slitting Bailey's throat, killing her right there at the dinner table. Damn, I guess Bailey won't be giving any more hugs after that. But at least she had manners enough to keep her elbows off the table. For her death, they were able to use a real thick prosthetic neck filled with blood, knowing that the camera angle for this shot would hide the unnatural looking thickness. Leatherface tries to carry Chrissy back
they were
down
so
into
clever.
the basement, but she manages to escape him with a screwdriver stab to the back. She then
That'll
gets
do
out
it.
of the Hewitt house with a patented window crash dive that all Texas Chainsaw Final girls are very well versed in.
I mean, they didn't have it in the
You
last
better
one,
go
did
and chase
they?
after her now, Leatherface. We wouldn't want to do anything different in this movie. Dean wakes up
Dude,
at the
also,
dinner
is
table and
Leatherface
sees that his
a track
girlfriend
star?
has been killed. That discovery gives him the strength to attack Hoyt. But like I said up top, it's not all that exciting, since we know the faux sheriff's gonna live, no matter how many times Dean bashes his head against the ground. Chrissy's chainsaw chase
Is Rose
leads her
still gonna
the
go to war?
slaughterhouse,
Honestly,
where she
I
finds
wonder
the
if-
owner's
yeah.
body and, more importantly, the keys to his car. Although she tries hiding from Leatherface in a vat of animal blood, he finds her and is all ready to chainsaw her to death when Dean comes to the rescue. It's a short
Vietnam was wild, but like
Dean is killed when
after,
Leatherface
oh well,
stabs him
he's
through
not
the
gonna
back
have
with
the
his
choice.
chainsaw and lifts him up off the ground while mulching his innards. I'm surprised we haven't seen a chainsaw kill quite like this one in the series.
I don't know if that's better or
good
worse
job.
than the Viet
Chrissy
Cong.
gets to the car outside and starts
The
to
Viet
drive
Cong
away,
did some
finally freeing
shenanigans.
herself of all this meat
I mean, so did the
industry
US.
misery. But right
They
when
all
she
did some
spies
shenanigans.
possible
Wartime's
redemption
crazy.
up ahead, Leatherface pops up in the back seat like the Moonlight Man and kills her by sticking his chainsaw
Really?
through the car seat and her back. It's not often a final girl dies, but it does happen, especially when your movie's a prequel. And hey, what the hell?
Makes sense.
Let's count these two dudes that get hit
Just to
by
get
the
the
car
kill
as
count up.
well, since that was a pretty serious accident, and I
Oh, yeah,
don't
they're
see
definitely
how
dead.
anyone could have survived it. Texas Chainsaw remake
Also,
movies, man. Always
cops
hitting us with
never-
those last
maybe
minute
back then they
kills.
did.
The movie
They
ends
never,
with
like, stay on
Leatherface
that side of
walking
the
away
car.
from the carnage in his
Or like
wake
that.
as John Larroquette reprises his voiceover narration role to remind us what
No dance?
franchise we've been watching for the past 6 weeks.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Thanks, John. Almost forgot. How many people did the Hewitts kill in the beginning? Let's find out at the
I
numbers.
mean, it was 11. And we got, what, 2 more of these?
Hey, turns out I have to reshoot this segment after I randomly decided to shave. So, in the interest of continuity, there, all better. 11 people died in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, the most of the series so far. The victims consisted of 7 men and 4 women, a nearly 2-to-1 ratio of more dudes. With a runtime of 96 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 8.73 minutes.
Nice.
I'll give the Golden
Can't complain
Chainsaw
about that.
the coolest kill to Holden. Lots of chainsaw deaths in this movie,
wanna
but
see
I
that
like how
watch.
this one was relatively subdued, even though it was a guy getting cut in half. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to Leatherface's unnamed mother, who died during childbirth. That's not fun.
At
That's
work.
just a tragedy. And that's it. The Texas
In
Chainsaw
what,
Massacre, the
1939?
beginning, came out in 2006, but didn't do so hot at the box office, so they ended up scrapping this timeline. The series will get another sort of reboot with 2023's Texas Chainsaw 3D,
That'd be
which
next
I'll be
one.
looking
Oh,
at
3D.
next week.
Dude, I
But
remember
until then,
everything
I'm
was
James
3D.
H.
3D this,
This has been the
3D
Kill
that,
Count. Thanks a lot for watching
3D
this week's Kill Count.
TVs.
I want to thank some patrons like Andrea Jacobson, Patrick Spencer, Nash10, Mario Papascu, and Manuel Martinez. Just a reminder, the first ever live show for the Dead Meat Podcast is going to be on Sunday, July 7th at RTX in Austin, Texas. So if you want to join us, get tickets for RTX. Links in the description. Thanks, everyone.
Wait, whoa.
First ever live show for the Dead Meat Podcast is going to be on Sunday, July 7th at RTX in Austin, Texas. So if you want to join us, get tickets for RTX. Links in the description. Thanks, everyone. Be good people.
Wait, 6 years ago, that was... When did I go to RTX? I went to RTX 2019. Wait, were me and James at RTX at the same time? So the only convention I've ever been to was RTX 2019. That was 6 years ago. Yeah, no, wait. And it was July 7th. Because I flew in on July 4th. I flew in on July 4th because it was 2 days after my birthday. And I was walking around RTX having no idea what anything was going on at all. I wasn't caught up on Red versus Blue or anything. I was just kind of like there, just chilling. What? Yeah, that was 2019. Huh. I had no idea that me and James were at the same place at the same time. Years before I even knew James existed. What? That's crazy. What? Also, wow, I'm old. That was interesting. I hope you had a wonderful day. Hope I made it a tiny little better. I do read our comments, at least some down below. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I got 5 more videos to record after this. But shout out to the patrons because they got all the videos day early. Could not do this if it was not for them. I'm looking forward to having an under 40-hour work week in the future, very near future. It's gonna be great, and I'm so looking forward to it. And I'll be able to live stream again, and eat and sleep, and go to the gym, and record anime reactions. I'm really excited for it. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing that song.